Hello everyone, my name's Bob Mitch, and after a very long period of development cycle and a dearth of content, we're back in some Star Citizen. Today we're getting a look at the very leaky looked at 400i from Origin that Star Citizen Leaks loved very much and did lots of content on. It's finally been added to the game for them to cue their rabid Discord down a bit. So they've finally proven right, so good on them for doing what they do. So yes, this is Origin's new ship, and it's meant to be a direct competitor to the Constellation. So I have picked one of these up because I'm just an Origin fanboy, but I'm still a bit torn on it. I've got this one here in Arena Commander Free Flight with the default white paint. I'm Concierge, so I picked up the Concierge skin. So this is on the 3.15 PTU, by the way. This is First Wave and Concierge, so hopefully soon it will be released to some more waves and people can come and break these things so we can get more fixes in and get them working in the main game. But let's have a look. So in Arena Commander, as you always do, with some glaring lighting glitches, although we do have the very pretty cloud layers now, volumetric clouds down on Broken Moon. We're in the very blinding cockpit. I suppose I should turn this thing around a bit so it's not quite so blinding, eh? And we've got this very big sweeping cockpit here. Bit of a different look for Origin because we're very used to being Origin. My words. We're very used to Origin being very open canopy. So lots of glass with Origin and not many struts or enclosed spaces. And I have noticed in this ship that it is very. It feels more enclosed, like a Freelancer or a Cutlass. It's a big ship, so it is as big as a Connie, but it doesn't feel as big inside, if that makes sense. There's not a lot of room to this. Maybe I'm just jaded because I'm used to walking around my 890 and used to the 600i things, but you'll see as we go around. So, get out the seats. This is the pilot seat in the middle. There's two decks on this ship, and the top deck is the habitation deck where the cockpit is. So, inside straight away, you've got the pilot seat, and then you've got two co-pilot seats. Both of these guys can access the turrets, so there's three weapons, or three weapon stations should I say. There's two cannons pointing forward, and there is a top and bottom turret. So going backwards from the bridge, we go into the habitation area, and this here is the lift that takes you down. So I'm guessing we call it using this button. I've not actually done it before from up here. There we go. Going backwards a bit more, we have a sort of wet room, so you can see that this is all a big shower room. My character's in a different suit, look at that, because I've not been in the PU yet. You do have a shower wet room, and a locker to store things. These buttons here, you hit these, and you get a fold-out toilet, look at that, which is quite nifty I think in here. Going backwards in this way, and we go further back. We've got proper habitation. So in here on the right hand side you've got the pilot slash owner's cabin, I would guess, because this guy in here has his bed, and his or her bed I should say, and then you've got this desk space here to do what you do throughout the universe. So the 400i is billed as like an exploration variant of Origin's line, so I would say it's meant to be like a competitor to the Phoenix. But I have to say, I'm kind of preferring the Phoenix at this point, mainly because of things like the views. So you can see you do have windows out in this ship, but like I mentioned, it's very constricted compared to what we're used to on an Origin ship. So go to the other side, and we have more beds. So you've got beds for your guests, or maybe yourself, if you're kind enough to surrender the main cabin. But again, very restricted views because of what's going on here. We've got some storage space. All this opens up, which is quite cool on this ship, as you'll see in a minute when we go down to the other deck. And moving further backward, we've got the main lounge area. So you've got a scanner, same as the 890 and the 600i do, so where you can pick where you want to go. I'm guessing that's going to be the end game for these things, just like it is in those and in the Carrack. And as someone who lives on a boat, I would say you have this dinette area, so you've got this space where you go in and have your little social chats and meals, and then on the other side you've got a galley, so you can do all your livable things because you are a person and you need food. On this wall, we've got lighting controls, just like we did in the MSR. So you can see you can dim all the lighting down in here. So just like the Star Runner, you can control lighting. But I think it's quite cool that they're adding those to all the different ships now. So now we will take the elevator down. And we'll go down to the technical deck of the 400i. And immediately you can see this is a lot different. You've got a ladder as well that goes all the way up. That pops out next to the elevator on the upper floor there. In here, this is all like the engineering section. So you pop these buttons and you can walk in these compartments. And there's a nice detail now, which is they're adding to everything. You can slide open these areas and get access to these components in these compartments. It's very cool. Same in here. Do this one as well. This one's got 2. It opens this side one as well. There we go. Going forward, you have the way in. So we'll come back to this. I went the wrong way really. We'll go backward first. So to the rear of the ship, you have the cargo area. So I think it's 40 or 42 SCU of cargo that this thing can carry. So it's got a big cargo left. We will hit the button and get out of the way. You may be able to get a vehicle in here. I have not tried. I imagine it might fit a Cyclone. Don't think it's wide enough for an Ursa, but you could probably get something in there. So yeah, you've got a cargo bay. So you can haul cargo with this thing, although admittedly not much. Scattered around that, you've got escape pods. I wonder if this opens the... Oh no, this is more components. Look at that. And then that one's the escape pod. Okie dokie. So more component spaces hidden around. So yeah, scattered escape pods. Cargo bay. You can haul cargo. Or supplies. Or maybe a vehicle. And now, going forward, we have a docking collar. So you can hit this. I don't know if you can use this in the PU yet and dock it like you can the 890 or the Hammerhead. It might be a nice little surprise feature that I'll have to try, although it doesn't really have an extendable thing. All seals up with a very pretty looking door. It's not going to come open now. Maybe it's... Oh! I hadn't noticed that. On the Penumbra skin, it has a different texture on this door. It's like a very cool, wavy texture. On that, it's just a boring white door. Maybe that's something with the skin. Anyway, you have these lockers, which is very, very important now. Everyone's going to start making more use of these, I feel. So I'm going to pop them all open. So we've got 4 in total. And they all deploy. And you can see that you've got a weapon rack here, and then the rest of them is for suits. Because now we have 315 with the changes to the inventory system and everything is physicalized. You have Death of a Spaceman. So if you die, you lose what you carry. So people may use their ships to store things more. Maybe need a bit more persistence for that to work a bit better, but you get the idea. People may actually now start using their ships to store things. So, looking forward, we've got the gravity generator going nuts. I do love that they've kind of pinched the gravity generator off the 890 jump. And if we punch this button here, you'll see that this opens the way down. I'm going to fall into 0G though, because we are not on a planet. Whee! Oh, I just clonked my head, look at that. And we've got the blinding white light again. So normally on the landing gear here, this is where the forward landing gear will be, and this is how you get in. There's buttons on this panel here. If you hit the right hand one, that closes this up. And if you hit the left hand one, if my character stops swinging around, you get the lift for the vehicle that is meant to be in this ship, and that is Origin's as yet unreleased X1 hoverbike, like their competitor to the Nox. So I have just noticed that this thing's got a... Oh, it has gravity. Can we hide in here? I didn't try this before. Let's do that. That's kind of cool. You can stow away in here, so that there's no other way in or out of this area. But yeah, this is where the X1 hoverbike that... I don't know if you get one with this ship. I don't think I noticed it when there was the pledge and everything, but this is where Origin's hoverbike is meant to live. Not a person. You're not meant to be in here. But we will go back outside and we'll have a look from the outside of the ship. So, like I said earlier, it's got 2 guns facing forward that the pilot has control of, and then we'll wobble backwards around the ship, and you can see it's got 1 turret on the top and 1 turret on the bottom, and it's got the very sleek lines, sort of almost like a 300 series engine, which I think I really do like actually. So it's a very sleek and cool looking ship. It's a bit different with Origin's kind of design architecture. It's still nice, and I think it's something that I could still use as a really nice sort of daily runabout. What I thought was going to be my MSR, because it's nice to have something that's quite small to run around in, and that kind of fits this bill because it's connie sized, as opposed to like trying to fly around constantly in an 890 or my Herc, which they're like my 2 main ships. So yeah, having something that's a bit smaller, a bit manageable, and can still carry cargo, can do missions with it, and I imagine it's quite formidable in combat as well. It's a little bit sluggish trying to fly around, trying to do things like missions and such, but apparently according to the statistics it does bank and turn better, a bit better than a Connie. So we shall have to wait and see. Your mileage may vary with this one. I am liking it, but I'm still torn on it. It's a different kind of look for me because, like I said, I think I'm a bit jaded and I'm used to the design of Origin's other ships, whereas this is kind of like a bold outreach to something that looks a little bit different, and kind of functions a little bit differently because it, like I said, it feels cramped inside compared to other Origin ships. So let me know what you guys think. Do you like the 400i? Are you going to pick one up? Are you going to have one as a daily driver? It's meant to be an exploration vehicle, so it's got scanning equipment, as we saw inside. It could be a neat little sort of mini yacht for someone who doesn't want the Constellation but wants something to explore in. So let me know what you guys think. So the next ship we need to talk about that has been released with 315 is this big boy. This is the Crusader Hercules A2. This is the bomber variant, so this is the one that lots and lots and lots of people have been looking forward to, because this thing drops Moabs. They can call it the size 10 bomb or whatever it is. I don't know what name they give it to it. It's Moab. It drops Moabs. It drops the mother of all bombs. That's what it drops. So this thing is armed to the teeth for a ship its size. So there is 3 seats in the cockpit this time, as opposed to just 2. And you can see that it's got the main 2 guns up front that the pilot fires, which I can fire with my left click. But it's got another turret under the nose. It's got 2 underslung near the landing gear carriages. And then it's got 3 rear-facing turrets on the bottom and 1 to the rear. This thing is genuinely like a flying fortress, because that's basically what it is. It's a giant bomber, and then it needs protection. So, I haven't used the bomber mode. I am going to assume I do something along the lines of click middle mouse, and then this will tell me where the bombs are. Yes, no, I'm not sure. I may be a bit high. I'm going to come to a stop. Let's see if the bomb bay doors have opened, so you can see the Moabs in the middle there. They're in the lower deck of the A2, so they're right to the very rear. If I don't drop them all, then I'll go and have a look. If I angle the nose down, you can see now that you get this UI that pops up. And basically this is when you're flying along, you can select a ground target if you want, and you have to line up this reticle here along with whatever it is you're trying to bomb. So you can make a slow flying one. What we're going to do is we're going to descend to, I would say, about 1,000 meters, whichever it is on the right there. I don't want to go too low because I know that I have seen the GIFs and the videos of people blowing themselves up. So we'll come to a stop and then we'll let one of these things go. Just for fun. I think I may be a bit low. I'm a bit worried. So we'll ascend a little bit more. 1,250. Let's see what this does. So we just left click. Bye bye bomb. And you can see that it has deployable tail fins that come out. It's affected by the atmospheric physics, so things like wind and gravity. This thing's going down, down, down. I can just see it on my screen. It's probably disappeared on the video now thanks to YouTube compression. There it goes. It's a Moab. You can see the giant burn mark that thing left. So these things are hella destructive. People have flown around on the PTU. There's endless videos by now on YouTube and on the subreddit of people flying along and dropping these things at far too low an altitude for this thing. At the end of the day, it's a giant high altitude bomber that's meant to be bombing structures. Structures don't move. You could let a bomb go at like 20,000 meters and it wouldn't care. It would just take a while to get there and then the building is gone. That's the idea of this thing. It's not meant to be like a an eclipse, you know, and fly low and drop these things, but we'll do a moving one this time. So there we go, that one's gone, and you can see on the right hand side of the UI there, I'm going to level it out now, and you can see that this thing has a tick down timer that shows you where the bomb is in relation. I am now going to come to a stop. I didn't see or hear that one impact. Interesting. Buggy? Maybe. Maybe it just went out of range of the object containers. I don't know. We'll do one more just for giggles because it's fun. So, there goes another one. See, 0.5 kilometers. This is supposed to be like a tick down timer that tells you when this thing's going to go bang. There it goes, into the canyon. Yeah, they're falling slower on Daymar because Daymar obviously has weaker gravity. You go somewhere like Microtech or Hurston. There we go. And they will be a lot faster falling. You know, they'll fall a lot more realistically to how we know to real life because Hurston and Microtech are 1g of gravity. But there we go. I will put this thing down on the floor and then we can quickly have a look at the interior. There isn't that much to shout about that's different inside. It has an armory because it's meant to carry military troops. It is a military vehicle at the end of the day. But yeah, compared to the other... Let's get out of bomb mode just to be sure I don't bomb myself. Compared to the other Hercules variants, there's not that much that's different inside really. Soft little touchdown on the ground. So we sprint back through the Hercules' many corridors. You can see there's a lot more escape pods in this thing now. But like I said, not much more to shout about back here. If we go to this left-hand side now, you see we've got turrets. So this is where all the gunner seats are. Goes out to these side turrets here. Are all remote control, kind of like the ones in the Carrack or the drone seats in the Carrack, and then to the rear, come to the back, and you've got an armory. So you've got lots more space for carrying suits, similar to the 400i's new ones, suits and weapons, and lots of weapon racks. So that's about it. There's basically like nil habitation on this thing. If we sprint to the other side, you can see we've just got bunks this time. There isn't like a massive kitchen or anything. There's just a little kitchen, basic galley, and a little table. Not really for 8 people, because this thing is designed to carry 8 people. But there you go. We'll use the... Oh, I just passed through a bulkhead there. I'm pretty sure that's not supposed to happen. We will take the elevator down. You notice that they haven't got the fancy UI buttons for all the lifts in here just yet. I don't know if that's something they're going to work on, but it seems a bit backward considering, you know, everything that they've done for like the MSR and the 400i. We've got the old style, just text showing up with the inner thought rather than fancy UI buttons. And you can see that each ship, so each A2, has 4 Moabs stored up on these racks here. And because we dropped 3, you can see that we've got one left right here. Mob. So not Moab, Mob 012 Ordnance. And then these are the guiding, stabilising tail fins that are meant to guide it to its target. So if you haven't seen a Moab in real life or a model or whatever, they look like this. They're not too different. They're just, I would say, a little bit longer and a bit more slender than these things are. These things are, you know, are just meant to look like giant bombs that drop, whereas Moabs kind of look like cruise missiles with tail fins on them. So you can even see that they have how the gantry in here rotates to switch out the one that's being used and the one that's ready to go, like this one is here. So there we go. Quick and simple and hella fun, I imagine, for those people that own them. I don't actually own this. I don't know why I have access to this ship. I didn't think I did, but it would appear that CIG have enabled the Moab, and I don't know if they've enabled the 400i for everybody. I would assume they've enabled the Moab because the bombs are new and they want people to test them and see what breaks. But I have access to the A2, so I thought I'd show you guys the A2. So there we go. Bombs everywhere. That's what you can expect in Star Citizen now. If you're doing a group event and there's 2 opposing groups on the server, you don't need all these fancy, you know, ground assault teams and everything like that. You just need to distract the enemy long enough until you can get an A2 on top of them and wipe them all out in one clean sweep. So here's to the future of your ground attacks. Let me know what you guys think about the A2. So whilst on the way back to Microtech, now the ships are out of the way, I can show you some of the other features of 315 that are getting. And I've spoken about Death of a Spaceman previously with the 400i. Now it's time to show you guys what I mean, if you don't already know and you've been living under a rock and not following developments. So before, you could just go into your thing here and you have a little person that looked like this, and you could click and you could wear anything you wanted that you owned, anything that belonged to you. So guns, armour, ammo, med pens, backpacks, whatever. I never really liked this because it felt like a very sort of World of Warcrafty MMO kind of thing where you have endless pockets, and it resulted in Star Citizen in people walking around looking like human tanks because they were always walking around in heavy armour, armed to the teeth with the biggest gun that they could possibly carry, like a scourge railgun and a sniper rifle and a machine gun and all the med pens and everything attached to them, you know, in a 1G atmosphere where normally they'd just wear all that and then fall flat on their arse because they wouldn't be able to carry all that weight. Now everything has changed. The database, as everyone probably knows, is being wiped in 3.15, so we're having the first persistent sweep, so any ships you bought or anything is gone. Now you have this little app here called Knickknacks, and if you click this you can see that what this does is show you where your stuff is in relation to the standard system and you. So now you don't have everything, you don't have access to everything. All you have is what you carry or what you store on a ship, for instance. So here I can see that at Crusader and Orison I have a few pieces because of where I am right now, but you can see that my 400i is at Crusader, and then I can go to my 400i, and if I left anything inside my 400i that's been stored in Crusader, like guns, then they'd be in this menu. Otherwise, you just have what you carry on you. If I go back to Stanton, I can go back to Microtech because I selected Microtech in the main menu as my starting and home location, so it sets that now when you spawn in for the first time after you've made your character, and you can see that all of my crap is at New Babbage because I selected it as my home location, and more importantly because I didn't bring it with me. Like my Expo armour, which is from CitizenCom, is what I would normally wear in a cold environment like Microtech. I would love to have that with me normally, and as well as the Pembroke armour, which is the opposite, which is for high temperatures, so heat. If I'm walking around on the surface of Daymar, I ideally need that, or Ariel, or somewhere like that. I'm not carrying that with me, so I don't have it on me now. I can't just select it. If I want to go to Ariel, you have to plan ahead and put what you want inside your ship. Now you have to think ahead. If we exit the Mobiglass and we hit I, now we get the new inventory system. So there's no little person in your Mobiglass, now you have to do it through I. Everything I have is here. So I don't have lots and lots of armour and things like that on me now. All I have is what I carry. So I can take these pieces off and drag and drop them to the right, for instance. Let's see if I can grab a med pen. And then this goes into my Crusader Hercules here. Or you can add it into your core armour compartments. So this is the bits of armour that you have. Now this is inside my Hercules, but I can just drag and drop it onto my person. At least I can if I can find a spare slot. So let's try and rotate the camera a bit. It's a bit janky and sometimes you have to find the slot where to put these things. That was a slot just there. There we go. I let go, and then it's appeared back on my character's leg, you see? So there you go. Now, then this applies for everything. Armour, weapons, helmet, undersuit, skinnies, so your underwear, any clothing items. All that you have is all that you carry. So now you have to plan ahead, and you have to wear things like backpacks and do things like that. So this is going to make Star Citizen a lot more dynamic in that people can't just walk around with all their gear anymore like walking tanks and switch weapons willy-nilly and on the fly. So if they think, oh, I'm going to run out of ammo in my giant LMG in 5 seconds because I've used it all, you can't just go into your mobiGlas and re-equip some more ammo like you used to, like I used to if I was running out of ammo. Now you can only use what you carry, so if you go into the field with 2 magazines, you have to conserve your ammo, otherwise you're out of ammo, and then you have to resort to charging at someone with a knife, if you have a knife equipped. If you don't, you can consider using fists or run away and pray. So yeah, makes it a lot more interesting now. And finally, as to why the whole inventory system and the death of a spaceman is so important and what it ties into mostly now is medical gameplay. So, for example, I'm in the Aspire Grand in Microtech, which is the apartment block where you spawn. This is where you come down, and normally you'd run down into the metro chute down here to go down on the metro loop. However, now we have hospitals. So you wander through this lovely thing here, and you are in the Brentworth Care Centre, which is the Microtech Hospital. And there's quite a few things you can do in here in 3.15 now. They've added all this new functionality with medical gameplay and the death of a spaceman. So you can go to one of these terminals here and say you're injured. So if you're out in the field, you can't just use med pens now to stab yourself and then magically you're better. Med pens will improve your situation, but they won't heal you if you've got things like broken bones or serious injury, so that you can't fire weapons or your eyesight's damaged, something along those lines. You can come to these terminals and you can check in, so you can see if there's a room. Normally there will be, because at the end of the day we haven't got massively packed servers, and it tells you a room, and you can go up to one of those rooms in the elevator, get in a med bed and get healed. So this is important mainly because you don't want to be walking around with a broken leg all the time if you've broken a leg from a fall, but mainly because if you die, you lose everything that's on you. Just like ye olde RuneScape back in the past. If you die out in space now, you can't take the shortcut to just control or right alt backspace and kill yourself to get to a hab quicker once you've landed or once you're nearby. You can't do that now. If you do that, you die and you lose everything. You lose your ship, you lose your entire inventory that you have on you. So if you've got any subflare on you, bye-bye subflare. And more annoyingly, other people can loot your body and steal your stuff. So if you've got subflare or something rare, people can hunt you and steal it. So it's another little dynamic loop now to the gameplay that we've got. We haven't just got healing medbeds, however. We also have terminals in the insurance here, and what the insurance place does in the various hospitals is you can see you've got a regeneration screen. You can hit this screen, and once you've gone to a new area, so because this is my primary residence facility here, you can see that I'm already registered at this facility. If you want to change where you will respawn when you die, now you don't just respawn at the nearest hab area that you die near, so or the last place that you landed, I should say, like you used to. You respawn at the area that's been reset as your regen location. So if I die, regardless of where I die in Stanton or regardless of where I landed last, be it like on a station or on another planet, Port Olis or whatever, I will always respawn back here. So I have to reset it or change it, and that's what this is for. So another aspect of it. The next aspect of this is more medical gameplay stuff. So you can run into the pharmacy And now you can drug yourself up to the eyeballs because you can buy pens. So now, as opposed to just the med pen and the oxy pen, you have lots of other pens. So you have an adrenal pen, which each one has different things basically. So you could buy a load of these if you know you're going into a high risk environment. And you can see muscle fatigue and symptoms related to being concussed, muscle weakness and respiratory damage, detox pen if you've drugged yourself up to the eyeballs and you need to detox, and then the opia pen, impaired mobility and partial paralysis. So if you break a leg, this is the sort of thing that you need. Again, you will only be able to carry these, and if you aren't, if you leave these behind in a mission, then that's on you, because you didn't take your special pens with you. You also, in this patch, have personal weapons. If we go here, you can see you've got the Paramed medical device. I'm not going to get one of these out because you can't really shoot yourself with them. So these things are like advanced med pens. You can see designed to stabilize patients suffering from possible life-threatening injuries, and as well as diagnose and dose for those injuries. So they're like a med pen, but they heal a lot more and they heal a lot better, and it's longer lasting to give you time to get to a facility like this and get healed up. So you have this, and then you have the attachments for it. So you can see that this is the Paramed medical device. You've got a Paramed refill, so this is the cartridges that this thing uses. But you've also got the Lifeguard medical attachment, and this thing can be shunted into a multi-tool. We all know the multi-tool because they've been in the game for a while now, and it does the same thing. So you can see it's a joint effort between Grey Cat and Lifeguard, or Pure Life, and it's the same sort of thing. However, not as substantial of using one of their Parameds, and then you can buy refills for the Lifeguard medical one as well. So all very cool. It's going to change the game hugely now because people can't just run around with all their stuff, and you need to run around. If you're going out into the black, so into space, you need to think ahead. You need to think, what am I doing out there this time? Am I just cargo running, or am I going into a situation where I'm going to need lots of drugs, and I might need to drug myself up to the eyeballs? And am I going to need a giant med pen? Am I going to need, stat boosts, or stim pens rather, I should say. That's the Call of Duty language, isn't it? The stim pens. How many med pens and things am I going to need? How much ammo am I going to need? Am I going to need heavy armor, light armor? Am I going to fall and break my leg? It's all very, very cool now. So there's lots and lots and lots of changes coming when this thing hits live, and I can see lots of people liking it. I like it because it will change the game colossally as the dynamic of things change and how we're meant to play it now. Some people might hate it because now they can't just go into a menu and suddenly spawn a Scourge railgun on their back if they're not already carrying it. You have to think ahead. That's the thing now. That I love, is that you have to plan ahead now rather than just have a snapshot decision and go, oh, I'm going to go and farm some bunkers. But you can't do that in light armor with just a sidearm like what I've got on now, because I'll get shot to pieces and I'll probably die and lose everything. So there's real risk and reward now, and I love it. So new ships, new gameplay, bombs, big bombs from big ships. There's a lot coming in this patch, and it's a lot to look forward to when it goes live, and it's going to be interesting to see how it changes the dynamic of the game now and the feedback that we get. So this is all, of course, off the back end of CitizenCon, or Digicon, or whatever you want to call it. This year's one, I think, again, I may sound a bit jaded because I was at the 2019 CitizenCon before things went apeshit with the pandemic. And it was an in-person CitizenCon, and there was big presentations, and it was lovely meeting people, and there was a giant carrot made of ice, and it was very, very cool to be there and meet people. This one felt like, how can I phrase this nicely? It felt like an extended Inside Star Citizen with a ship reveal and a PTU patch dropping. Does that sound fair? So yeah, it's I wasn't that impressed with this CitizenCon. There was lots of cool concept stuff, don't get me wrong. There was lots of things like the mission that they did, which I should state that we were shown a mission at the 2019 CitizenCon of going around somewhere in Microtech here and stealing data from a facility. We still don't have that mission, so showing us a mission is great, but if we can't do it, it feels a bit underwhelming. There was no information on Squadron 42, which is another kick in the teeth to the people who want Squadron 42 to be released. Yeah, lots of cool concept stuff. The concept art and stuff for the stations and for Pyro, especially. We saw lots of Pyro, and the space stations that were abandoned and that have been re-established by pirates and whatever. Very cool. Don't get me wrong, but we aren't going to be able to visit Pyro for quite a while, like the jump points and things like that. So, lots to look forward to, but at the same time, not a lot that's tangible that we can get our hands on, and I think that's what a lot of people are missing right now. The new features coming to the game are fantastic. Like I said, the stuff that's in this patch is brilliant and extremely game-changing, but at the same time, there's no tangible jump points to go to. We aren't going to be able to go to Pyro yet. You understand what I mean. It's cool to see, but we want to do. We want to go to Pyro. We want to use the jump point. We want to go and do this. And whilst I can see that it's getting close to release, we still need to see things like the implementation of the server meshing, which they spoke a lot about and showed a lot of how it's going to work, but there was still no date for it. It was another Blizzard soon TM moment, and it felt a little bit disappointing, but we shall see, won't we? As ever, we shall see. So there we go, 3.15, lots of cool things, new ships, bombs, lots of death, lots of losing your stuff and getting frustrated, especially if it's sub-player. But I think overall better for the game. So, after all that, let me know what you guys think. Are you looking forward to jumping in and maybe playing with the new 400i, or going around in an A2 if you bought one and bombing everyone into oblivion? Are you looking forward to the new medical gameplay? Is it something that you may feel like you main as a character? Are you going to be a medical person who responds to all the medical emergency calls? Because you can get those now in the Mobigas. You can literally attend people who have died and bring them back to life if you want, and charge a premium for it, I suppose, or get paid for it. Yeah, so let me know what you guys think. Thank you very, very much for watching. Hopefully it will not be as long a wait again until we get more content that I can show you. Maybe some kind of fun event that we might get. But until then, I shall see you next time.